This is to me, it's like doing an icon. It's almost as doing a logo design. It's just something very simplified, but I'm working with just color and the blending the two different colors together, so it's optically connecting. So there's merging. If I can shift back to this one, I did a lot of line work, folding, blending, painting, and weaving. So it's more complicated, simplified a lot. Just went back to, okay, what is the basic thing? I could just take a page and make a page work with another page, so they relate to each other. Yes?
It looks repetitive.
Yeah. It's using basic weaving technique.
That's what I see.
Yes. So the gold and the copper papers are really just woven together. One thing you can see I'm shifting here to here, where there's a drawing and painting woven into the other page, so that there's connecting together.
Native Americans relate to that some. If you look at some of their work.
Yes.
Methods.
Yes. I love folk art.
What kind of computer did they have?
The head. Yes.
Brain.
Right. During my graphic design career, I worked. Was one of the first people in the company on a computer. Spent my career on a computer. When I was getting near retirement, the first thing I tried to do was get back into drawing and painting and figure drawing and clay work, because I wanted to get away from that and get back into the touch. And that's why I really enjoy paper, because it's one of the things. I'm not a painter. I consider myself more of a draftsman. I draw, but I manipulate. I cut and I weave. I didn't ever like the feel of a brush, and to me it kept me away from the paper. I like the working directly with a pen. Went back and started using a little bit of gold leaf. I really love the gold paper. There's metallics. These pieces are, I figure out a geometric pattern, like how they can work together. But to me, I'm using what is there already. Instead of having to draw or paint something, so much of the world has beautiful papers already, and I can take them and manipulate them. This one is actually 2 sheets of paper, just interlocked. Same here, 2 interlocked pieces. So I'm finding that I don't have to create the image. The image creates itself just by putting them together. The last few years I've been exploring, finding different kinds of paper at different shops all over, and they're from India, from Thailand, from Malaysia, from Japan, China, and that's how I usually end up labeling like what the piece is. So the kind of paper becomes the title of the work.
So how long does it typically take you to do the weaving with the full page?
It usually takes 1 to 2 weeks to put it together, and I actually spend a lot more time just thinking about it, and I'm getting surprised as it happens. So it's I've taken pictures of the series of things along the way, of slicing and putting it. So I tried to figure out how to do it. Everything will hold by itself without any, thick mechanical fasteners or glues or anything. I do use, like this one in the window, I have used a little bit of glue to make sure those little edges don't come out. That one and this other the point, what I call arrow, are done normally. I'm working just one side on a drafting board, so I'm planning they're going to be opaque. Here I had the opportunity to put it in the window to see it lit up. I've done a lot of screens and items like that before, so I really enjoy putting a piece so it can be seen from both sides and how the light reflects through it. It is all, like what I said, it's rice paper, so it may change over time, but everything does. So I'm not too really concerned that things are going to change a lot. The one in the window here, you can see the top has black that's coming over. On the other side of the page is the black with the red coming over. It's actually a two-sided paper, so it's interlocks. The same with the one on the brick over there is the paper pulling from one side into the other. So physically making it turn itself into a graphic. This is one of the latest ones, smaller, but it's got at least 4 layers to that. There's a back layer and the front each have 2 parts plus another 2 parts. Yeah, about 5 layers of paper to make up those patterns. So again, trying to work some textures and lines leading around. Again, sort of referring back to traditional weaving, but it's not done traditionally at all. Let's see if I wanted to. I didn't bring examples, but I also do books, standing screens, and I've been making some of these interdimensional, applying them to bookboard and making them into standing elements so that they can be put away or stood up and displayed other than on a wall. So they become sculptural. So I just keep playing with paper, seeing what it'll do. Yes.
Do you ever work with fabric, weaving fabric, non-traditional?
Not really. I feel I've got so much to explore with paper that fabric is still. I do a little sewing, like in that one. There's some sewing just to help create a sewn line instead of a drawn line or folded line. But fabric is. I've done kites out of fabric, but I wouldn't consider myself a fabric artist.
But the weaving in the one that's framed there, that looks to me like what would be a herringbone type of weave. So
Yeah.
do you study?
I study the patterns. Yeah, I love looking at books and finding out how do these things come together, and then what naturally occurs. There's different patterns coming through and inside and outside of these things. So some of them are created by the width and the angle of the cuts, and sometimes they're by the how the paper is woven in and out of itself.
That one that you're in the upper corner there. No. Yes.
Yes.
Did you paint that one surface and then begin weaving?
Yes. So it's the background had bars put across. There was paint on it, and it's basically ink that is sprayed on there. And then there's drawings, and then it was sliced, black woven through, folded, sewn, and then drawn on. So that one took a little more time, yeah. And actually, there's a piece folded over on the top so a rod can be put in so it can be hung. Yeah,
When you've sewn, is it by hand or do you use a machine?
just machine, just this regular straight stitch. Yeah, yeah. I try to keep low technology with this stuff. I like just using this as simple stuff as I can. Again, I did so much computer stuff and could do so much in Photoshop and Illustrator. It's like, I don't want to do that. I want to make it hands-on and something I can do myself in my studio.
What motivates you to create any of these pieces?
I have no idea what motivates me. I just like doing them, and I just keep doing them. It's sort of like setting up a puzzle, setting up a jigsaw puzzle, or a crossword or something, just to see what can happen. And also, I just love the different materials and colors, and I have a whole closet full of sheets of paper that are hanging there, waiting for me to take which one to go with what. Some of them I don't know if I'll ever figure out what to do with them, but they're just beautiful pieces of paper.
Have you ever combined, say, a wood like glue-on with papers? That'd be two different textures coming together.
I'd say the books, standing book I have, the book board is just like a hard book cover, and so they get the rigid then. Some people have looked at them and said they look like they could be game boards or something, because they've done them where it's 2 pages opens up, or 3 or 4. I like those. Sure, Bob. I like them because they can be put away and folded and put in the drawer, and then like springtime comes, you take the springtime one out, put it out, and put that one away. It goes back to, again, this, I studied, I loved Japanese aesthetics, where when you went into a house, there would be a scroll hanging there at your entrance. And to me, these were similar to that, and I wanted to be able to have it so they could be changed. I never really liked putting these behind glass. To me, it's like taking a butterfly and sticking it behind glass. They should be out live, but they can't really stay like that in a lot of situations. And some of them just are. I don't know how to frame some of these things. So doing them on a board, yeah, it does. I've done it in a few different ways. I think maybe another way I've seen people do it is take a hard panel, as if they were doing a painting, and mounting to that. So I've yet to do that.
We'll wait for it.
Okay. Yes.
You talked a little bit about op art.
Yes.
I have a lithograph by Victor Vasarely.
Yes.
Your likes and dislikes about his work?
I love his stuff. It's this thing about him is his use of color. It just leads you through. It's very rich. His work is very rich. Bridget Riley was the one that I really liked more because she was stayed a little more higher contrast than Vasarely's stuff. I don't know if that answers you. Okay, I don't know. Anything else?
Where do you see your work going?
Where
is it?
It's been interesting. I am thinking 2 ways. I'm thinking, continuing what I'm doing. I really like the idea of small miniature things like boxes and something that, again, is very personal. But also I like large environments, and I'd like to be able to do a large installation. I've done a few years ago, and I would like to see, get that opportunity of maybe being able to do, like, there's you know, recently I've been in Grosse Pointe at the Unitarian Church. They have there is this round building where it has windows along 3/4 of it, and it'd be a beautiful light to come in there, and it'd be nice to do a huge piece to fit in that space.
What medium?
Right now, I'm thinking paper, but it would probably end up having to be Tyvek or something else that a little more physically stable.
Thinking canvas for something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about some of your bas reliefs?
The which?
Your ceramics?
So it's so different.
No.
I also do ceramic work, and very much textured, but it's the ceramics. A lot of it is based upon the figure drawings I do, and then translate the figure into a ceramic form, and so that would be another series.
Question, where do you see your work going? How would it hinge it on something with, like, the Metropolitan Museum of Art?
Good. I was there a couple of years ago, touring New York, walked out of elevator banks, and there was a 40-foot long mural by Saul LeWitt, also one of my influences. Beautiful graphics, and it was like, how much better than that? It was just beautiful. So yeah, the only way I've been able to get in there is by buying the ticket. So.